Welcome to the In My 30s podcast with Savannah Keyes.
Yay! I'm so excited. Yeah, I'll take your lead, pro over here. I'm so excited.
You're the pro.
No,
I feel
let me take a cute little video of you really quick.
Okay,
wave. No, you look so professional. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I wear like the same black every
As you
episode.
should. Black is the best color.
It is.
I'm convinced.
Because we're blonde.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is.
It's just better, superior.
It is. It is. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know that you interviewed me for Radio Disney.
I did.
How long ago?
Too long. It's been too long, truly. It had to be before our world shut down. So before 2020, yes. Because we kind of stopped our show in the midst of 2020, of course, just like everybody else had to stop everything.
Yeah.
So maybe 2019?
I think it was 2019 because I had just started my record label. And then I think that song If You're In It was out, and I think you interviewed me about If You're In It.
It's so cool.
So how did you get that gig? That was such a cool
The Radio
gig.
Disney one?
Yeah.
So I had been a correspondent for them for a little, I want to say maybe over a year at that point. I can't remember the exact time frame, but I had done different things with them at music festivals for country music and award shows where I'd interviewed artists on the carpet and before they went on stage, which was so magical and so amazing. And I don't know why they trusted me to do something like that. Yeah. It was such a learning curve at first because as I'm sure you feel, like you're nervous, you're like, I want to make sure I'm asking them the right questions and things that aren't throwing them off, but also getting the information that is going to help benefit them and make them excited that we did this interview. Yeah. And I was younger at the time. 2018, 2019. I can't do the math. I'm not very smart, but it was too long ago.
You're not in your 30s yet.
No, I'm 28. So I was like 21, maybe 20. I don't remember. How long ago was that? 2020?
6 years ago.
6 years ago. Okay.
It was 2019. Yeah.
Okay. So 22. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. I'm really bad at math.
That's
truly
so crazy.
Not my strongest subject at all. But yeah, I was too young to understand how great the opportunity was at the very beginning and what it could kind of lead into until I was already in the midst of it. And I worked really, really, really hard to keep that opportunity. And when they approached me about doing the show, I was so elated. But I did understand then at that point, I was like, this is a big undertaking because they did not have a country station in Nashville at the time. And so we were going to be kind of breaking the ground on that, which felt like such an honor, but also was a big weight on my shoulders to make sure that I was doing right by them in Nashville for country music.
So I just feel like you are made for TV. Like you're you're such a good communicator and you're so poised. And like, I feel like honestly interviewing you, I'm kind of like, we should be switching roles here.
No, absolutely
not.
No,
because you're so good. You're just such a
really
natural.
Nice. Thank you.
You have like a natural ability. And you must know that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so good.
That's really sweet. I love it so much. I feel probably more comfortable doing this sometimes than I do even performing. Yeah. So I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
I have enjoyed doing this. I mean, when I was a little kid, I used to like grow up like making shows and stuff just for fun.
Yes.
So it's a fun little creative extension. I think a lot of performers would probably be good at that kind of thing.
Right. And also part of our job as songwriters is learning how to communicate, express ourselves emotionally, tell the story, but tell it in a very precise way. So I would feel like most songwriters would probably be pretty okay at this, right? Because that's kind of what our brain is trained to do.
Yeah. So, okay. So that leads me into like how you got to Nashville and the TV you've done. It sounded like, from what I read, which is funny because I've known you for years, but we've never sat down and just had like a get to know you.
Which we have to at some point outside of this actually do like a wine night or something.
And now that I know you live nearby, well, I'm not going to live here. Like,
but we're going to try. We're going to make it happen. We're going to try to make you move even closer to me, actually. Yeah. So we have no excuses.
I'm moving into your building. I'll be your neighbor.
I'm so ready for it. Let's do it.
But yeah, so what I read was obviously you were on a couple TV shows. And was that what prompted you to move to Nashville?
No, I'd always had a dream of moving to Nashville. I'd actually been coming back and forth out here. My first trip out here, I was actually 7, and I had written, I know, it's crazy, but I had always loved country music, and I grew up listening to it and covering it. And there was actually a karaoke bar in my grandparents' town that they would let me go and sing covers if I left by 9 o'clock, because of course it was a bar, but I would go and I would sing, Dolly Parton covers and Martina McBride and the Chicks and do the whole thing. And so I always had this love for country music, and I'd always written songs. They weren't really complete songs. I didn't know how to play an instrument at the time, but I knew that there was this magical place out here that would allow me to kind of pursue that more consistently. And so I begged my parents to come out here when I was 7 to kind of visit and have fun. And we would walk up and down Broadway, and I was just so amazed. Of course, I couldn't go in anywhere, but you can hear the music right on the street, and everybody was just so incredible. And from that point, I went back home and I started writing my own songs and trying to learn instruments on my own. And I took my first co-writing trip out here when I was 13.
Okay.
After I was on Ellen. So,
So Ellen, how did that happen?
I was posting videos on YouTube, and they had no views. The algorithm was not my friend, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. But at the time, that was the thing that you did as a kid. You were posting videos on YouTube, hoping that one of them would go viral.
Right.
And it would change your life.
Yeah.
And so I was posting them, and they were not going viral by any means. They were also terrible videos. I'm not going to pretend like they weren't. My mom's hands were like shaking, filming me. She'd be nervous if I was performing somewhere. And the Ellen Show caught one of the videos, and it caught their attention. And they gave me a call and asked me to come on out and perform on the show, which was life-changing, truly.
Did one of those videos go viral?
No, it was such luck. It's still amazing to me. I feel like that's one of those moments where it was, hard work and luck really just met at the same time, which is what our business is in its entirety. Because there's no reason that I was chosen over somebody else's video.
I mean, the fact that they tracked down a video that was not a
no, it was like a
one
couple hundred views.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was crazy. And they saw something in the video, and I'm incredibly grateful for that, because that's kind of what started me being able to come out here more consistently after that happened.
Oh, I bet. So did that open like a lot of songwriting doors?
Yeah. So she, when I was at the show, she introduced me to a team of people that were kind of, which was, again, it feels like another lifetime ago, because I was 13 and I'm 28 now. And I mean, it was, I had no idea what all of that was going to lead to. And I always had the idea of like coming to Belmont or Berkeley or even Juilliard, doing something within music and pursuing it, but going to college for it, right? Because that's what you're told. You go to college, you get the degree in the thing that you want to do, and then you pursue that thing.
That's exactly how I was.
Right? And so when you're 13, you're not necessarily thinking, oh, I can get paid to be a songwriter at 13 years old.
Right.
Writing about my friends being mean to me or the boy a few lockers down. That's just not realistic.
Yeah.
And so after she introduced me to my team, I then started traveling back and forth out here, and they were helping me set up co-writes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes. It was
I feel like things happen like that in your life to like direct you on your path. It's sort of like, it's a huge thing and you don't know where it's going to go, but it kind of like sets off the whole journey.
Yeah. It's like dominoes, the domino effect, right? And I just didn't realize at the time, like I said, I always wanted to be out here, but I just had no idea what I was in store for sure.
So, okay. So you start coming out here. Do you move here?
Yes. I was coming out about a week or two a month from 13 to 16 years old. At one point, I actually had to pull out of school just because the public school system won't let you miss that much school. I didn't really have a choice. And I started homeschooling, and I was still coming back and forth out here. And then it just kind of got to the point where I really was losing out on opportunities because I wasn't here full time. Even though I was 16 years old at this point when I made the decision to move, there were shows I was getting asked to play, or co-writes I was getting. I mean, you know how it goes. Sometimes you don't finish a song and they're like, well, what are you doing next week? And it's like, well, I'm back at home next week. I can't finish it until next month. And that becomes really hard to maintain those relationships and kind of continue to grow as a songwriter and as a performer. And I was just ready to kind of rip the Band-Aid off. And, we also had, you and I were really lucky, we had the Taylor Swift model when we were growing up, right? Of like, okay, if she can do it, then why can't we do it? And I think that she really helped in a way that my parents were like, okay, like you could do this at 16, 17 years old. Like there's no reason, like there has been, or like LeAnn Rimes, right?
Definitely.
We saw those younger artists kind of making waves at those ages. And so I begged my parents, and they said, okay. And I graduated early, and then
That's amazing.
moved out here with my mom. Yeah.
And how old were you?
I'm 16, almost 17. And
Cool.
and I got really lucky. At first, I think it was kind of a soft move. It was like, let's move out for 16 months. Because, I have my brothers. Oh, no, you're fine.
This is not working out.
That's
It keeps
incredible.
falling.
No, you're literally pro. Didn't even notice you were doing it. Honestly, so pro.
We're switching. Okay, handheld.
It's perfect. No, but I mean, we had my brothers at home, and my mom is still a mom, and I'm still 16 years old. And so it was kind of a let's go out for 6 months and see how big of a difference it makes you being there 7 days a week versus what we've been doing. And within the first 6 months, I signed my first publishing deal.
Oh my God.
Which is unheard
That's
of,
crazy.
by the way. I mean, that's not a normal thing. And it was like, oh, okay, this is home. This is, you can't be getting paid to write songs a month and not be here to write them. So at that point, I was 17 and my mom had to start going back and forth, and we just figured it out.
Wow. That's crazy. So does your mom still live here?
No, she doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, she moved back permanently. She was coming back and forth for a while until I was probably around like 18.
Okay.
And then at that point, I just, I mean, it was...
Yeah, you're old enough to...
to do the thing. It would have been like me going to college.
Yeah.
But it was still a huge sacrifice as a family, for sure.
Yeah.
And my dad would come out and visit as well, but he was also, he has his own business back at home, and he was doing that. And it was tough, but you just kind of get through it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody's just so excited because it felt like the beginning of something that was life-changing for all of us.
Totally.
That you're not really thinking about, oh, wait, this is our daughter and she's young and she's out there. Because I also, to be fair, I had an incredible support system out here by that point because I had come out so often.
Yeah.
So there were people out here that were keeping an eye on me and taking care of me when my mom was back and forth during that time too. So by the time I was 18, she was like, okay, she has her Nashville family.
Yeah.
We're good. I'm going to come out every couple of months. And
so when you got that publishing deal, were you writing like 5 days a week, or how did that work? Okay.
Yes, I was. And I experienced a lot of burnout during that first publishing deal.
Oh, I bet.
And it wasn't even my publisher's fault. I just, in my brain, I had gotten into my head that the more songs I wrote, the more chances I had at having that one song that was going to change my life.
Yeah.
Because when you and I were first here in town and we first started, yes, there was, you had social media, but it was not nearly as heavy as it is now, in the sense of like it being so dependent on your numbers on there. It was really dependent on the song. Like, what is the song that is going to break you into this industry? Which is amazing, but that was its own pressure. And so what was happening is my publisher was setting me up on writes 5 days a week. And then I was doubling that and writing 2 times a day and not saying anything, because I just was like, if I write 2 songs a day, so that's 10 songs a week, I'm going to have a better shot at having that happen. But I experienced burnout so fast because I wasn't living my life.
I remember my first trip down here to co-write. I was like 18, and I felt like just a week of like writing songs with professional writers. I was like, first of all, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before.
Yeah, same. I wrote essays to go into my writes.
Really?
Yeah, I would have a title, and then I would write like a persuasive essay on like why we should write it, what the song would be about, why I think it would work. So my first couple of co-writes, I would literally sit there with this paper and like read it down.
So prepared.
But it's the only way. I mean, think about like creative writing class, right?
Yeah.
In high school or in middle school, that's what you're taught, how to pitch something. And so that's
smart. I mean, even now I'll go in with like, I'm like, this is the concept. I wanna write this.
Yes.
But I want help like writing it better than I would by myself.
I agree. I do think that I think everybody writes differently. And I think you and I do share that very specifically, because I'm definitely a concept person.
Yeah.
If I can't wrap my brain around the title or the idea, and it's not something, and sometimes to a fault, if it's not something that I bring into the room, I don't necessarily feel connected to it.
Well, because people know you're an artist and they end up wanting to write for you anyway. That's what I always find, and that's sometimes frustrating, but sometimes like helpful too. I
totally.
don't know.
The one thing I will say, and I can speak this for you as well, because you are an artist and you're authentic to yourself, is that, whether, at least at the end of the day, whether it works or it doesn't, we have a really strong point of view in the room. And whether somebody else connects to it is not up to us, but at least we're being truthful that day in the room.
Definitely. So you had a publishing deal, and then did you eventually get a record deal when you were here?
Yes. So when
that early on?
Yeah, no, to kind of backtrack, when I said I was introduced to a team, that's actually when I signed my first record deal. I was 13. Oh my God. Yeah. And so I think that that's how I got so lucky to be set up in rooms. Like my first co-write ever was with Jesse Alexander and John Randall. I know. And it was like, I was 13 and I was freaking out because I, of course, knew all of the songs that they had written, and I was such a fan. And then also, too, I mean, Jesse Alexander wrote The Climb. And so when you're 13 years old and Hannah Montana movie had just come out and you're watching it, you're like, this is wild. Like
Yeah.
this is the most insane thing. I'm in their house. I'm in their home studio right now. And I still am a huge fan of Miranda Lambert, and John Randall's been so important in her career as well. So, and that was actually the song that got me on Ellen, was singing a Miranda Lambert song. So it just felt like a very full circle first co-write for me. But yeah, I had signed a record deal. So by the time I signed my publishing deal, that's why I was so concerned about that one song that was gonna break, you know, because I was waiting for that green light because I was so ready to get that chapter of it started.
Yeah. So, okay. So first of all, you've already had such a career.
Thank
you.
You
started at 13.
It doesn't feel like
7.
it, to be honest, but I appreciate
know.
it. Yeah.
I know. I mean, I've been doing it my whole life too.
Yeah.
I have not been on Ellen, which R.I.P. Ellen show. But,
I know.
But yeah, no, I'm so impressed to learn all this about you. Like
Thank
I didn't
you.
know we did Song Suffragettes together, but I never knew all the details. Like
it's like my villain origin story.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's so cool. It's like you're like a pro. You've done this. So that's so cool. So those songs that you wrote with like Jesse Alexander and John Randall, were they released?
No, so we never released anything under my first label deal.
Okay.
And that was something that, you know, at the time, I think I was heartbroken about because you're working so hard for a goal that you don't get to kind of see come to fruition.
Yeah.
But looking back on it now, I think that was probably the greatest gift they could have given me, because there are still so many impressions that I get to have someday in my career because I wasn't releasing something that was too soon. Do you know what I mean? That was too green.
So you feel that way, those first songs, you feel like you wouldn't go back and release those now.
I think that they were beautifully written songs, not because of myself, but because of the co-writers I was in the room with that were extremely talented and knew the craft really well. But I don't think that any 13, 14, 15-year-old knows themselves well enough to be able to tell their story in a song. I also had not lived enough life yet. Now, there were some songs like towards the end of my deal. I didn't leave my publishing deal or my label deal until I was about 19. So I feel like there were some songs towards the end there that I was like, okay, this is starting to take its shape and I'm really loving what this is, and this is my point of view, and I feel really strong about that.
Yeah.
But at that point, so much time had passed.
Yeah.
It's like being in a relationship for 6 years, right? I hope anybody listening to this doesn't think that I think this of them. This is just something for myself. It's like if being in a relationship for 6 years and your partner doesn't want to marry you after 6 years, they're probably never going to pop the question if they don't know that they want to marry you at that point.
Totally, yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt. I was like, okay, I've put 6 years into this at this one company, and now I feel really strongly about these songs, but now they're not feeling as strongly, and I don't blame them, and I don't want them to work on something that maybe they're not passionate about, because that's not going to benefit me either.
Yeah.
But they were good people. It just didn't really make sense towards the end.
Yeah. I know everyone always tells me, like, I've been looking for a publishing deal for like an eternity, but everyone always tells me you need to find one person that really is behind it.
Yeah.
And like that makes all the difference.
It does. And I will say, I mean, whether it's you who's like waiting for that one person, or it's still me that's still waiting for that one person, because and I had another publishing deal after that at a more independent company, and they were wonderful and kind, but still, like, the thing that is most important is not getting a paycheck every month to write a song. It's having that person just believe in you so much that everything that you turn in, they're either willing to sit down with you and give you the direct feedback on and tell you what needs to be better, because they're either trying to develop you as that songwriter, right? Yeah. Or it's someone that every time you turn something in, they just understand it in a way that's different than the rest of the town, and they're willing to go to bat for you in any meeting, at your shows, at whatever that is, whether you're an artist or a songwriter, and that's what's going to make a difference, not just signing the deal, right? And I didn't know that when I first came to town, and I try to tell people that when they ask me for any kind of piece of advice. I'm like, just wait. Yeah. Don't get married to something that's not right for you.
I mean, on one hand, I'm like, oh, it's great practice or it's great experience. But then, you know, you are signing away your publishing, and that's a big deal.
For sure. And I will say, like, my first times doing that, like, there's only like a handful of songs in those deals that I'm a little bit bummed about that I don't have publishing on anymore. But, but I will say that I actually was listening to another podcast when they were talking about writing. They were talking about writing like a screenplay versus a song. But, you know, they said in that podcast, if you believe that is the best thing that you're ever going to write and you're never going to beat that, then you can just quit now.
Yeah.
And so that, for me, anytime that's happened, I look at it, I'm like, okay, well, this didn't work out this time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going to live to be 100, hopefully. And that means I'm going to have thousands of more songs and more stories to tell. And if I'm good at my craft, that means I'm just going to get better.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
And I'm going to outright those songs that I'm sad about. You know what I mean? That I don't own publishing on.
Yeah. I know. I go back and forth with that. Like, I really love owning my work, but then I realize, if you're with a publisher, you get in more rooms, you get to write more songs. So it's sort of like, by trying to keep everything to yourself, you're preventing those other opportunities or those other songs.
And I do agree with you on that. I think that the trade-off has to be an even trade-off though, right? So I'm willing, I would give, there's so much I would give up to have somebody in my corner that believes in me wholeheartedly and is willing to put me in rooms that would make me better and on opportunities that make me better. I mean, that is the thing that is the key to just becoming better, right?
Yeah.
That I think is the right trade-off. The trade-off that doesn't make any sense is signing with somebody that just maybe kind of sort of believes in you, just kind of wants to see how things go. And you are giving up so much as a writer and as an artist.
And maybe they're not booking your calendar
and maybe they're just not booking it in a way that's going to benefit you, or they're not giving you the best opportunities because they don't think that you're the best. And you just you want to be with somebody that is is giving that much to you, because as songwriters, giving up your publishing and whatever else you decide to give up in that contract is a massive piece of us that you're giving away to somebody, but the trade-off has to be equal on their end.
Yeah, you're right. And it's so good that you already know that.
Thank you.
Like, that's really cool. I can't even imagine like meeting the champion. Like, I did have one, like my business partner.
Yeah.
And that was a really unique thing to be like, wow, this person like believes in me. Like, I've never felt that quite like that.
And I still have like a songwriting mentor that does feel like he is a champion to me in so many different ways. But he and I always talk about it's that champion on the business end of things too.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much he and I can do in a writing room.
Totally.
And then once you're kind of past that, you have to kind of hand it off to the powers that be and hope for the best. But if you have powers that be,
it is. It's a hard thing to know. I mean, I think like whatever your side gig is, you're hustling, you're writing songs. No one gets paid for writing songs until the songs make money.
No, yeah. And even then you get paid like a year after.
Yeah. I think it's so cool, everything you've already done.
Thank you.
I'm like so impressed.
That's really nice. I really appreciate that, because I think there's a lot of days, and I'm sure you feel this way about the successes that you've had. They don't feel like successes because
you're always looking for the next.
You have to. You don't have enough time to really relish in them, because you have to plan for the next thing.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot of times for me specifically. I don't know about for you, but with music releases specifically, I'm like, I'll release it and then I just like can't even think about it, because I'm like, okay, well, what's the next song we're going to record, and how is it going to be marketed, and what's the artwork going to look like? And I'm really actively trying to undo that part of my brain and just enjoy it.
And what I wanted to ask you was like, how do you feel about all the pressure of social media now, where it's kind of like, I feel like I really valued the old way of sending songs and the song being the star and getting feedback on the song, and which is hard to get in itself. But like now it's, well, what are the numbers? It's all like, what has the artist themselves generated, and the pressure to post every day and blow up your socials. It's kind of like lightning striking. And I've seen it happen for people, and they're incredible at it. But like this whole shift to social media being the star instead of the song is like really...
It's hard. I mean, I'm not going to pretend. And I think it's extremely difficult for myself because I haven't figured it out. I don't understand it fully. And I get really hard on myself because I'm a perfectionist, probably similar to any creative, right? Yeah. And I you spend years and years and years crafting and figuring it out and trying to figure out how to take a hook and make it commercial and flip it in a way that nobody's heard about. And you work that muscle for so long, and then you figure out how to market that song and how to perform it. And then now you really just have to kind of hope that an algorithm sends it to the right group of people. Yeah. Now on the other side, I heard an interview from another artist that did blow up via TikTok, and his perspective on it, which I was really enlightening and a little bit, it gave me a little bit more hope, is he said, you now as the artist have so much more control than we ever had before. Yeah. We now have access to finding an audience that really connects, whether that's 5 people or 5 million people. Yeah. We do have access to something that we never had access to before. Before it was you know, we're going to be put, and this is still a dream of mine to like open for so many different artists. I have a whole bucket list, as I'm sure that you have.
Yeah.
But you were kind of thrown onto different opening acts and kind of sent on a radio tour and hope that by the end of that, you've attracted these people. And now we have access to those people without even having to leave our apartment. So there is power in it. But when you're not receiving that affirmation after you've spent hours and hours and hours writing a song and then hours and hours and hours trying to come up with content for it, and then it gets 5 views. You're like, okay, well, this is frustrating because where is my affirmation? Where is my audience?
Yeah.
And I just have to try to remind myself during those days that, you know, we all start from zero. And even though you and I have put a lot into our career this far, and there is this shift and we have to kind of play catch up and figure it out. I have to just believe that at some point it's going to catch up to us and we're going to be rewarded because of the effort that we put in. I mean, before we even turned on the cameras and in the microphone, like for me, when I'm watching what you're doing in my brain, I'm like, I get your brand. I get what you do day to day. And I know the work that you're putting in because you've created this world that I'm already enamored with.
You're so
and you
sweet.
didn't even know that because we haven't caught up in so long.
I didn't know that.
You know what I'm saying? And to me, even, you know, whether you're I don't know how often you're posting, but for me, like I'm getting fed one of your videos every single day. And it's probably because we're using similar hashtags and we live in similar areas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, and you didn't know that was doing that for me. So then there has to be somebody in my world that's following my videos that I don't know is feeding.
And
you know what
I
I'm
feel
saying?
like I've been staying up on what you're doing, like because of social media. So I guess we're definitely getting each other's videos.
For sure.
The
the internet loves that we're friends.
Yeah.
And I love that. But you know what I'm saying? So I just have to trust that at some point we're going to find our audience that's meant to be. And you know, there's also
maybe we'll go on tour together one day.
Do you know how much fun that would be?
That would be amazing.
I would be obsessed with that. We would have so much fun.
That would be fun.
But I also, you know, there's always shifts in the industry as to like how things, I know for a really long time it was, you know, like American Idol and The Voice were like the things had to do. You had to go on American Idol and The Voice, which I get it. We've all considered it. We've all had friends on it because it was the way to kind of be heard. And this is now like kind of the new version of that. And so I think that every couple of years things kind of shift in the industry and we just have to like outstay and outlive everybody else. And then it'll be our turn. That's what I keep saying. They're like,
I'm going to be 90 years old and strumming my guitar. Like hopefully at the Ryman. Like, I don't know.
I said to my husband the other day, I was like, listen, if I am playing for tips at 90 and please just tell me to put the guitar down for like 5 minutes. I'm like, because the thing is that like I'm not qualified for literally anything else. There's nothing else that I want to do. Sorry, I'm getting emotional, but
I love it. I know. I feel you.
But at some point, you know, you know, what I was saying is at 90 years old, tell me to just take a nap. Yeah. You know what I mean? Tell me to just relax.
I feel you so much right now. Yeah. And I had a conversation with a family member who just said like, wow, you've dedicated your whole existence to this. Totally. Like, what would you tell the girl who moved to Nashville at whatever I was, 21 or something?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, I think sometimes it feels like I don't have much what I wanted to show for it.
For sure. Yeah.
But then it's like, I just was like, you know, when it's a calling.
Yeah, you can't help it.
I don't know what I'd tell her. I'd tell her to go for it because a calling is different than anything else. You know?
You can't wake up and not think about it. That's the thing is I always say, you know,
I'm going to get you a tissue.
Thank you. My makeup's like running everywhere. You're so sweet.
I love that we're having this conversation because what I've realized is I never talk to other artists about this stuff. Because I feel like people are very like siloed these days, especially after the social media takeover of the universe.
For sure. And to be honest, like I fall under that category as well. I think we all have this, you know, even though we preach about it, like, oh, okay, you have to show all sides of yourself on social media. You get on there and we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I hardly talk about this ever.
I know.
You know what I mean? The perfect example is the other day I posted a video. And I did it on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
Exact same time of day, exact same caption, same edit, same hashtags.
Yeah.
Video on TikTok and Instagram did fine. Like not for the amount of followers that I have, it was not feeding the video directly to any of the people that already follow me.
Yeah.
Because it was just not the equivalent. It
Yeah.
wasn't adding up. YouTube, I do not have nearly the following I have on TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah.
But it got like 80,000 views. Make that make any sense?
What?
That makes no that doesn't.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. I have thousands, I have tens of thousands of followers on the other two platforms separated, and I have like 1,200 on YouTube. But YouTube fed it to a new audience of people, 80,000 people worth. And the other, I just don't understand it.
I know. And that's why it's frustrating, but
Totally.
I think like it's also freeing to know it's not all in your control. And I think I am guilty of like beating myself up a lot of
For
like,
sure.
you're
Yeah.
not posting every day. You're not. And meanwhile, you're just trying to like pay your bills.
And then you almost get like anxiety. I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but I'm like, I have this like 1 week, 1 minute vlog that I do every week.
I love that.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. But it's because it gives me at least one thing. If like everything else around me feels like it's chaotic, I'm like, okay, well, I can guarantee that I can post this one thing to update people, to show what I'm doing, what I'm working for, and also give a little bit of an insight as to like what our day to day looks like, because I don't think there's been TV shows about pretty much everything, but not really what it's like to be a singer-songwriter trying to make it in Nashville.
Yeah.
So I started this series, and I usually post it on Tuesdays. Okay. And for whatever reason this week, Tuesday morning hit, and I just could not get myself to sit down and edit this video. I had my to-do list was running through my head. Then it got a little later in the day, a little later. Then Wednesday hit, then Thursday hit. And all of a sudden, I was like, why am I now, just because I didn't hit post on Tuesday, my anxiety is so... it's like holding me prisoner. Yeah. I'm like, what? It's a minute video. Just hit post. You know what I'm saying? And but with that being said, as much as there are those things that feel so out of our control, someday we're going to be able to, just like when we were growing up and we would see the artists posting on MySpace and we get to see them on their tour bus and posting pictures with their band and in the studio, like that's going to be what, you know, all of these files are for our fans and and if not, if we only ever have our parents and our best friends as our fans, let's say that's how it happens. Yeah. Someday, if we're lucky enough to have families and that's the path that you choose, like my kids are going to be able to go, whoa, she really tried. And that's cool that I have proof of all of that. Do you know what I mean?
I had a moment because I'm moving right now and things feel like really in flux and I'm just,
if you need help moving, by the way, I can't lift anything. My husband can.
I have never had, well, I had one friend actually help me once. But I generally hate to ask anyone for help for anything, especially like moving. Same. It's like the worst.
Literally, I'd rather just like crush myself with all of my own
Let me just handle the whole thing.
Yeah.
No,
Fetal
I appreciate
position,
it so much.
like crying in the corner, but like I got it.
I want us to remain friends, so I'm not going to ask your help moving. But wait, what was I just going to say? Oh, I feel like the shepherding of like A&R and how that worked back in the day, I think there's still hope for that.
I do too.
And I think it could shift with the social media being the focus. I thought it would happen sooner.
I hoped it would.
Yeah. But now I'm like, you know, I'm at this point. Oh, I was going to say, because I'm moving. Like, things don't feel certain right now. And I hate that feeling. But I'm also like, I wasn't in control of the first record label meeting I got. And like how weird and insane the stars had to align.
How did you feel in that first meeting?
I felt like God put that together. God set that up and I was there. Like it was not in my control at all.
Totally.
And so I feel that way about you with Ellen, and it's like your path is sort of,
you can't force it.
You can't force it. And I think sometimes when we've been at this long, we're kind of like, well, why did that happen? If
for sure. And that is exactly how it feels, because in my brain, I'm always thinking, I'm like, why, kind of similar to what you said before, it's like, why was I set on this path? Why was I set on this journey? Yeah. And, you know, the hilarious thing about it is whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever it is that like is your compass for life, it's just not up to you. Yeah. And there is a reason for everything. Yeah. And I just feel like most days it just hasn't been revealed to me yet. And I'm kind of just waiting. I'm like, what's around the corner? Can you give me like a little, just like a glimpse? Yeah. Just like a little wink at it? Because why did I wake up as a child and want to do this so badly? Yeah. When all of my friends were playing sports, and my entire family is a sports family. Why did I not want to pick up a baseball bat and I wanted to pick up a microphone? Make that make any sense to me at all? And why was I given that opportunity and set on this path for it not to work out? I just can't. I just
and it already is.
And it already is for sure. But I think I'm like, cool, I'm ready whenever you are. Like, I'm here, and I'm not going to stop unless, like I said, I'm 90 and they need to put me in a hospital or something. And then
I know, and I feel I've never.
Then I'll probably perform at the hospital. To be honest,
you probably performed at a hospital already.
I have. I for sure
too.
have. Same. You and I can just do it together. It'll be so cute. They can give us like conjoining rooms, and we can put on a full concert with all the gear that I see that you post in your videos.
I'll provide all the equipment.
Perfect, because I have none. And
I just have everything strapped to my front, my back.
Incredible.
See, I feel like we've never had this conversation. It's so good that we're having it. I was gonna say, because I have these, especially moving. I don't feel grounded right now. Mm-hmm. And I do have these moments of like, what am I doing? Oh my God, what if it never happens? What is it? I'm not sure.
And yes, that is because I don't know how to define the it.
Yeah. It's like I have an idea.
For me so much over the years.
I know. I wasn't even going to do country music, and now that's something I'm in love with. And I think the other day when I started to feel normal again, it was like, I was like, oh my God. Because I start Googling. I'm like, I need help. I need someone to help me like get my mind right now.
For sure.
And it was like, some people were like, oh, maybe your dream isn't what you thought it was, or blah, blah, blah. I've gone down this rabbit hole before.
Of course.
But then
I love a good rabbit hole.
I realized it's when you stop falling in love with the process.
Yes.
And that is what I always have to bring myself back to. It's like, it's not about being at a finish line. It's about being in the thick of writing a song, of working on a run that you really want to hit in your voice,
And those moments, I think, are the moments that keep me going.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily the moments of affirmations along the way.
Yeah.
From industry people or fans. It really has more to do with that. Like, there is nothing that is better than when you finish a song and you know that you did that hook justice.
Yeah.
And you can listen to it in your car 100 times and not get sick of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, like I'm sure you feel this way as an artist. Like, there are certain songs that I'm like, oh, the craft of that is really good. But then there are other songs that I'm like, I already know what the artwork would look like. I know how I'd market this. I know what the merch would look like, the video. If I had all the money in the world, this is what I would do. Like, those are the moments that make me go, okay, I am an artist. I am a songwriter. I'm a creative. Yeah. I'm in charge of this moment, and I'm gonna appreciate it because this is still the thing that's driving me. Yeah. Not the other stuff, because the other stuff is so fleeting.
Yeah, and you can't control it.
You literally can't control it. One day you could have somebody be like, "That's." I had this happen at a meeting once. They were like, that song's a hit song. And I was like, oh my gosh, then I should release it. And I did, and it didn't do well. You know what I mean? Like, but I was writing on somebody else's opinion about a song that I wasn't even sure if I liked or not. I just was like, oh yeah, this is a good song. I thought it was good enough, or I wouldn't have shown them. Yeah. But then somebody said they thought it was a hit. Well, not everybody else thought that, clearly. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that wasn't nearly as fulfilling as putting out a song that I believed in and not caring what anybody else thought. Yeah. You know?
Luke Combs I saw a video of him on a podcast, and he was talking about how he brought, I think it was Hurricane or a couple of his hits he played for a publisher or a label. And they were like, buddy, like, you're never going to be an artist. Like, you need to learn how to write a better song. Like,
and he's so good.
Yeah. And those are hit songs now. So it's like, you can't, I don't know. It's a crazy business, and it's hard to keep.
And nobody can guess. I think that's the thing too, is that, you know, I used to put so much weight on people behind the desk. Yeah. And that they knew best, and they knew what was best for an artist and for a songwriter all the time. And I do believe there are some people like that in town that just have that magic and can predict something so well. Yeah. But for the most part, we're all human beings. We have no idea how things are going to pan out. And you can check all the boxes. Yeah. And still have, and that goes for any career choice really that you are wanting, not even just a creative choice. You can check every single box and still show up to work at the very end of the day and be like, I don't know if I'm meant to be here. I know.
It's so crazy.
Do I like my job? You know what I'm saying? And I honestly, until I forced myself to kind of meet people and be friends with people outside of the industry.
Yeah.
Because I needed some time outside of the bubble
Yeah.
during COVID. And it was the best decision I've ever done in my life because now I have an incredible group of friends that are both musicians and non-musicians. But my non-musician friends, anytime I hear them speak about their career choices and their life issues and we talk about it, I'm like, okay, we might be so different in so many ways, but we also are so parallel because this is just life. It just is what it is.
Yeah. I know there are a lot of similarities. Well, I want to get back to you and your career. Oh my gosh. My sister's calling.
Hi, sister.
Am I just like
Popular?
insane?
No, you're popular.
I gotta call
Tell
her
sister
back.
I say hi.
I'm just declining. She won't call me again. I don't think she might.
It's okay.
Anyway.
My mom called me. Like I was on a Zoom earlier this morning, and my mom called me like 3 times, and so I was like, "I'm so sorry, guys. Like, let me."
I
So
usually do not disturb. Whoops.
No, but I do too. But on her and my husband, if they call me more than once, it like goes through. So
Yeah.
I call her back. I'm like, "Is this an emergency?" She goes, "Oh, I just wanted to catch up on the way to work." I was like, "I love that because we do that. That's like our thing."
Yeah.
But I'm like, 3 times.
If she calls again, I'll answer. But anyway, I love that we just talked about the like artist stuff. I need to talk about with more artists, so that's what I'll do on the podcast. But anyway, so you were on Ellen. You came here. You got a publishing deal. Got a record deal. Then you were on 2 other TV shows.
Yeah.
What were those shows?
So when I left the label, I was and the publishing deal at the same time because they were kind of intertwined. I was 19, and at that point I had to kind of, in a lot of ways, start all over because all of the rooms that I've been lucky enough to be in, I felt this is not anything that those songwriters in particular made me feel, but I felt like they were only writing with me because I had a guarantee attached to my name.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I needed to prove that I could be in those rooms without that.
Yeah.
And that I was the songwriter or the artist that they wanted to write with.
Yeah.
And they wanted to help and they wanted to be a part of their team and champion them. And but that also meant like a big reinvention of myself and to try things out that I never thought I would try, like those TV shows, because putting yourself on a platform like television and is really vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because you just have no idea how things are going to kind of play out for yourself and then how they play out and also how they're edited. And I was on a show called Real Country and then I was on a show called American Song Contest, and both of them were only first season only shows.
Yeah.
I always thought it would be better for my mental health if I didn't really know the gravity of what I was getting into. It would really scare me. Never say never to do an idol or a voice or anything like that, because, I feel like the second I say I'd never do that, 5 years from now, you're going to see me on there. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I watched it so much as a fan that I know too much of the ins and outs of it. And I've had so many friends do it as well. And so I know too much. And so doing something that feels like unmarked territory felt a little less scary to me because I had no expectation going in. I was just like, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to work hard and I'm going to see what happens. They were both really positive experiences and for very different reasons. Real Country introduced me to some of my closest friends in the industry. Actually, right now I have a friend named Reagan Stewart. I think you know Reagan.
Yeah.
And she and I were actually sequestered at the hotel together. And we had so much fun. And now we write together all the time and we play shows together. And she's amazing. And she was like a beacon of light for me during that journey because we were at these hotels by ourselves. Right. And we weren't on the same episode, but we had so much fun. And then, I also got to meet Jake Owen. He was my mentor on that show and he was so kind.
Oh, cool.
And he like gave me his phone number afterwards and was like, if you ever need anything. And he was really, really, really awesome. American Song Contest was a different kind of situation where you were allowed to do original music, which for me was the big pull to it. Because after doing Real Country, and I thought I did the best I could do on that show, and a lot of it was a non-controllable, but I feel like I learned and I grew. And I mean, we got to be with some of the best vocal coaches in this industry and performance coaches and work with bands that are like, that's a gift. That is a huge gift. And I grew so much in doing that show for a few months, but the show itself didn't really do what, for any of us, I think, what we were hoping it would.
Yeah. Do you see, like, when you're on these shows, do you see, like, an uptick in your streams, followers, anything
I
like
haven't
that?
yet.
Okay.
I think that the shows that do that the best are The Voice and Idol, and it's because you have a character arc, right? These people are following you from the audition process all the way through till as long as they'll take you, right? Hopefully to the end. With Real Country and American Song Contest, it was really you got one, maybe 2 times on TV for them to kind of be introduced to you, right? Which, I mean, that's 3 minutes of you're hoping that you make some kind of impression or connection, but it was still so magical. It just wasn't, I don't think anybody I got a lot out of it personally, but numbers wise on social media, I didn't the way that I was hoping I would. American Song Contest though, the thing that was the coolest about that process is that it was an original song, which as a songwriter, as an artist is like your dream, right? I get to perform an original song on national television. We also got to pick out our wardrobe, what our dream staging, like our set would look like if we were on tour. So again, like to have that opportunity to be like, if I was headlining my own tour, this is what I'd want the stage to look like for this song. This is what I'd be wearing. These are the effects. This is, I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. And you know, I mean, I performed one time and nothing else came from it, but I was on the same episode as Alan Stone and I got to meet him. And
how cool.
Yeah. So I always joke around with people. I'm like, yeah, I opened for Alan Stone because I was before him on the lineup.
Did,
and so like technically I like got to open for him. Right. But
I played in the parking lot of some show one time and I was like, I opened for that artist. So
perfect.
That's
amazing.
how
see. And I'm like, you know what? And I'm like, he heard me sing, whether he hated it or loved it, it doesn't matter.
We were in the same mile radius.
Exactly. And so I'm such a fan of him. So, but even like that experience of getting to watch him perform, I knew he was an insane vocalist, but oh my gosh, like he is, I mean, he's an athlete.
Oh, okay. So you did American Song Contest. That was your most recent.
Yeah. And we got to release the song immediately afterwards. That's how they counted. Part of the way that they counted votes was streams as well. So that was a really cool opportunity because I got to record a song and release it, and it was magical. It was great. It was a song called Sad Girl that I still really, really, really love. And that to me was, again, like even if it didn't work out the exact way that I was hoping it would, these things hardly ever do. And I grew so much in that. I mean, getting to figure out, again, as an artist, I'm sure you haven't had this opportunity either where you're like, let me decorate my stage. And come up with visual representations of like what I think the song would look like on tour. And then an unlimited like wardrobe budget. What are you talking about? I still have the outfit. It's like fully rhinestone. It has like a train. It's like insane. Cool. And it's just like hanging in my laundry room. I'm like, someday.
See, you've already had so many experiences and successes. Like the shows.
That's nice. Thank you.
I can't, literally, I've tried out for every show. I can't get past the first round.
But neither did, Maren Morris
or
Tori Kelly or all of these huge successes.
I just feel like it's really cool that you've already had like all those experiences and you will continue to. Because I really do. I'm like, this girl's made for TV. Like
that's
you
so
are
nice.
like made for television.
Maybe that's why. Maybe you and I are both just made for that. And someday we're gonna have a talk show or something. It was so funny when I was first signed when I was 13. They asked me, they're like, "What's your long-term goal?" And this is still a dream of mine. I'm like, when I'm done touring. Because, I still have the anticipation that I'm going to be touring someday, just as I'm sure you will, right? It's like when I'm ready to like have a family and stay home and stay in one place. And I want to have a talk show. Like I want to do the thing that like Oprah and Ellen and all of these, prolific female TV hosts did because it brought me joy and it was fun and it was emotional, and then they also gave opportunities to people that they wouldn't have had otherwise. And so I think that would still be such a dream later, but that's so cool. I gotta succeed as a singer to kind of make that happen.
Yes. And you already are.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But I know what you mean.
I'm saying.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Like,
Kelly Clarkson's another great example of that. I mean, you know what I mean? Like she's still even touring and playing shows and she sings every episode that she does.
It's so unique what she's doing.
It's so unique and so special. And I'm like, and she's so good at what she does. I'm like, I would die to do something like that. That'd be so cool.
That would be cool. I think what I've heard is this could be speculation, but it sounds like it's a ton of work to do those daytime shows, and like she's wanting to get back to just doing music. Really? And maybe it's like kind of
because doing them simultaneously, I'm sure is a lot. I mean, it's 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And she's a parent.
I mean, even this podcast, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that I'm like curious about it. And that's how I feel about everything right now. I'm like, I'm curious about this. I want to try it. I don't know what I'm doing. I like learning.
And you know what? If you didn't try it, 10 years from now, you'd be like, well, why didn't I just do this 10 years ago? Just try it.
Yeah. I think my problem is that I kind of like to try too many things.
That's fair.
Which is back to like the A&R shepherding part. I'm like, I think now with like social media and it's all on you to like find success. I think sometimes I I'm like, I could really benefit from some guidance.
Totally.
So, because I always feel like, oh my God, it's all on the artist to figure this out right.
And I agree. And there are some, a handful of like A&R publisher type of people that I've met throughout my career that I feel like still have that in them. And I really hope that I've gotten to work with them in some capacity before. And I hope that in the future we find our way back to each other, because I think that they're so good at what they do. Some of those people are like Allison Jones or Laurel Kittleson, or there's a woman out in LA named Judy that is, she's just such a fan of songwriters, and she's actually, I would say, one of the only people I've received real feedback from. And she's not even in publishing anymore. She just loves songwriters and she loves artists, and she was in publishing and label and artist development for so many years. I mean, she was responsible for so many of our favorite records. I'll have to tell you about them later, but she I send her songs every now and again, and she's not afraid to tell me if it's bad and what I need to fix. And I love that because I'm getting better. You know what I mean?
Yes. I just had this episode talking about like some of the obstacles of like trying to get a publishing deal as a female songwriter. Like they bring up me being female all the time. And
Do they really?
Yes. And I just had a really good meeting where it was like real feedback, and it wasn't positive. It was criticism. And it was
that's
like,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can work on that.
Yeah. Like, thank you for giving me something. 'Cause we don't have all the answers. Like, we need guidance.
Well, clearly, if we had all the answers, we'd have like 30 #1 songs.
I know. I just think people are scared to give real feedback, and it's so helpful.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think too, I mean, when you're an artist writer as well, which is, I love writing for other people, but I probably identify more as an artist writer. There are so many aspects to the quote unquote job that we do that sometimes the really particular things that are part of the craft, you just miss them because in the morning you're filming before you go to the studio, and then you're filming during your write, and then you're editing the video afterwards, and you're cutting a vocal, then you have to go play a show, and then you have to post on social media.
You have to wear a lot of hats.
And if you can send it to somebody that's like, hey, this second verse, it could be better. Like this song that I just released, Cupid, I actually sent it to Judy that I was just speaking about earlier. And I sent it to her last year, and I loved the song. It was a song that right after I finished writing it, I was like, I know exactly what I want to do with all of this. This makes so much sense. This feels like a new, fresh chapter that I want to kind of open the door for on myself as an artist, because I haven't released music in such a long time. And I sent it to her, and she was like, your chorus is great. Why is there no pre-chorus? It's like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. She was like, there's something, it just feels like a big jump from that verse to the chorus. I was like, okay, I'm going to go back. So I went in with my writers and we wrote a pre-chorus. Then I sent it back to her, and she was like, so good, but now it's so good the way it is that why aren't you doing that a second time? And I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's just these things that, and I was like, okay, you know what? You're so right. And every time we went in to rewrite the song, there were things that as you unraveled one part of it, something else would kind of stick up and show its ugly head. And then you would fix that as well. Yeah. And through that process, not only did the song become so much better, but I became better as an artist and a writer in that, just from rewriting a song a few different times. And then we went into the studio, and Nathan Chapman and Blair Daly co-produced this record for me, which was so fun. Yeah, it was incredible. But Nathan and Blair, every time we would get to the bridge of the song, it just lacked energy. We tracked it, and we would go to the vocal, and it just felt like it depleted. And we had only done a guitar vocal prior to that, so there was really no indication that was going to happen until we got all of the parts recorded. And Nathan and Blair and I were like, maybe this song just doesn't have a bridge. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because why are we losing? We're not adding really anything to the storyline. There's nothing that's moving in that lyrically, and it just feels like it's a bum 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 at the end of that. And we literally, like in the 9th hour, took out the bridge and we laid down a solo instead, and it was 1,000 times better. Like, it's just weird that process never stops. Yeah. And I think that unless you have people around you that are reminding you that process never stops until it's out, that it's just impossible to do it all by yourself when you're also having to plan every other aspect of it. Right. Which is a privilege, by the way. It is an absolute privilege to do that.
Yeah. But people are specialized in certain things.
Yeah. I can't take my own pictures. If I did, they would be hideous.
Yeah,
It'd be so bad.
I keep looking at this to see if the cameras are still on, everyone. No, I know. And I try to do it all, and I am in a place right now where I'm like, I can't do it all and I need help. But are we good?
It just stopped. You're fine. No, it's like you spoke to
camera technical difficulties, take 3. I didn't tell you that I text you because someone commented on my YouTube on the podcast and said, I want to see Savannah.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So one of your super fans is watching the podcast.
Well, thank you. Whoever did that, that's really nice of you. And I appreciate it because this has been so much fun.
Thank you for coming. So, okay,
Anytime.
we're going to wrap it up. I want to know, so Cupid is the most recent song that came out. And then do you have like an album plan this year, EP or more singles?
More singles I think is my long-term goal. I kind of touched on this a little bit in the beginning, but I have always been running at the speed of light and just not, taking any kind of celebration along the way. And
I will vouch for that because she got here and she was working.
And
she was sitting down. I was mic checking her. She's working.
I felt so bad. I was like, I'm so sorry. My brain's in another place. I just have to wrap this up before we press record. But with releasing these songs that I have planned that I want to release, I've written them over the course of, the last project I put out was in the middle of COVID. So over the course of like 5 years, right? Yeah. And I have very specific ideas of what I want every single one of them to sound like and look like. Yeah. And it feels like different parts of my story from the past just 5 years. Yeah. And which is such a long time to not release music. And I hate that it's taken me that long to get excited about something again. But I just wanted to kind of celebrate each release and really soak it in. And I found myself right after this one released. I released it in May, and immediately 3 weeks later, I was like, all right, we got to get back in the studio. But I can't multitask. I was like, if I get back in the studio and I start planning this next release, there is absolutely no way that I'm going to continue to post about this other song and make the merch that I wanted to make and shoot the video I want to shoot. And so right now we're going to shoot a visualizer this coming month, which I'm super excited. I literally have like 1,000 packages sitting at my house that I have to go like try on clothes for because independent artist stuff, we have to dress ourselves, right? And make sure that we look put together, but on a budget, right? Yeah. So that'll be really fun, but there's no way I could play, all of those roles for this release and then simultaneously plan another release. So as soon as this one feels like I've gotten everything out of it that I want to get, I plan to go back in the studio in the next few months, and I already have my next songs kind of planned out for that. Yeah. But I just really needed to let this one breathe so I could just really soak it in. I think that's really smart because even now, a song I put out like 5 years ago or maybe 3-4 years ago, it's just getting more traction now. Is
and
it
I'm
the
like,
In My 30s?
No, not that one.
Okay,
but
I love that song.
Thank you. You're almost there. Not quite. And thanks for
wait.
being on the podcast. We're just
going
going to keep going. Okay.
It's okay. Yeah, of course.
We have this one of you. So anyway, so yeah, it's like now I'm like just getting around to like, okay, maybe I could afford a music video. Like I think you just take your time and however, because it's expensive to do all this stuff. It's super expensive. Yeah. And you have to work in between doing all of those things in order to afford it. Yeah. And we all have side hustles and we all have ways that we have to make our ends meet. And it's just impossible to do it all yourself. But if you're lucky enough to have the opportunity to be excited enough about a song to do it, you just want to make sure you do right by that song. Definitely. I think that's a very smart way to do it. Sorry for the camera. I have to apologize every podcast. Sorry for the camera dying. It's okay. But anyway, so where can everyone find you if they're not already following you? Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Is your handle the same? I think so. On most of them, it's Savannah Keyes Music or Savannah Keyes Official. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being so honest about your whole journey. I thought it was like a really good combo. So I really, really appreciate it, and we've been friends for a while, but I'm also a fan of what you do and how hard you work, and I think that you starting this podcast is so important and so beneficial, not only to just like open the conversation that you're already having in your co-writing rooms, because this feels like what we do before we write a song anyways, but also to shed a little bit of light on what it is like to be an independent songwriter, independent artist. And I just think what you're doing is really cool. Thank you. That's so sweet. I really appreciate that. Of course. On that note, we'll see you next time. Okay. In my